Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's gonna be the two top bots with a bit of a blood feud going on. It is Eris gonna be taking on negativeZero. All jokes aside, these two bots are incredibly good and are, for the most part, the only bots that consistently take maps off each other. Eris, for the longest time, was the bot that seemed almost unbeatable. However, negativeZero has kind of taken that mantle, and the fact that it loses fewer games than Eris does. I checked through its ladder history. The results are ridiculous. There's like pages of just wins. It's truly something to see. Now, all bots do drop maps occasionally here and there, but like negativeZero is about as close to being bulletproof as you can get. Eris, I think, is... I didn't go through all of Eris's pages or anything like that, but it's been pretty solid too throughout history. So we're gonna see how these two bots do against each other. We're on the map Interloper, a PvZ, but more importantly, a bot versus bot match. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, go ahead and click that like button. It's a big goal. It's a goal we may not hit, but if we can hit 100 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. And then subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, you can click that little bell icon too, get notified whenever I put up a new video, a new live stream. We've got negativeZero and Eris. They'll have faced off by the time this video gets uploaded, but going on in the SC2AI tournament, so I recommend you check that out. And yeah, if you do want to support these daily casts, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. It lets me buy tea, I guess, which is something I almost never drank before commentating, because it's good for the voice. So yeah, let's see how this one is going to go, as we've got multiple queens on the way for Eris. It let us know its build, hatch, gas, pool, extractor trick, but that is it as far as the info from these two bots. And part of the reason why it's so cool to see Eris and negativeZero face off is that Eris, I think, has a better win rate against negativeZero. It seems to win the head-to-head, but then overall negativeZero is the more bulletproof bot against the other bots on the ladder. I think it's safe to say we've got a very good start for Eris with a couple of scouting lings just running on in, and they're actually able to kill a probe, which is definitely not ideal behavior. It makes me wonder, because like we were casting SC2AI the tournament the other day, and we saw Zozo's insane probe micro, in which it like almost never lost a worker, it seemed. So that's not great that negativeZero did lose a probe to two lings. A bit of an unexpected timing. Again, I don't know if I've ever seen Eris really pair up its lings like that and just go for a probe kill. These bots are so actively developed, it always keeps you guessing. There's always little changes going on in the background. I think it's one of the changes that I love the most from the developer of negativeZero. It's just to park a Zealot on its next expansion location in order to block Eris or any Zerg bot, any bot really, from blocking the future expansion. Now, I don't know if the developer is going to like me drawing attention to that, because, of course, countermeasures could be taken to a lone Zealot just hanging out on the map. And so that just goes to show that there is a meta between these bot authors. It's like an arms race, basically, of programming. Whereas, like, the general best strategies stay strong, but there's always, like, specific coding you can do to improve your bot's results against one of your opponents. And yeah, let's see here. We have got Eris going for a 4th base, getting a lair on the way. I do like negativeZero's very quick 3rd base against Eris, which is probably the best macro bot. negativeZero likes to make kind of odd groups of units at the start of the game. It's got some Adepts, some Zealots. Now we're going to be poking in towards the base of Eris. 3 Zealots and a Sentry. Sounds like the start of a bad joke, but it's actually just an attack by negativeZero. The Queen is retreating. However, Zealots can chase down Queens, even on creep. Slow Zealots. The Sentry is fighting a Queen, but will lose that fight. Another Queen is going to get picked off, though, during this attack by negativeZero. Another Queen of Eris is potentially going to go down as these Zealots are chasing. The drones now have burrows, so they're going to burrow to stay safe, which is a very wise decision at this point, I think. Still, this means Eris is going to lose a lot of mining timing thanks to just the army presence and it having to wait till these roaches get out. The roach horde, I think, just recently finished up, so they're a little bit late. And that is the strength of negativeZero's early attacks. There is an observer out, however, it's parked at the 4th, waiting to potentially expand here. I think that's definitely worth it, as these adepts are still getting some nice mining denial. Will all these drones burrow once this adept shows up? No, they won't. Just the injured ones getting burrowed. So very good programming by the developers of Eris, and it seems that there's got to be some more of a significant threat for the drones to burrow. Like, I'm not sure how many units, but it's very good that, like, a single adept doesn't make all the drones burrow and stop mining. So that's quite cool to see. We've got negativeZero having immortals on the way. And there is another robo coming on out, which definitely will be useful. We've seen negativeZero go overkill on its production in the past, so we'll keep eyes on that. 2 adepts do grab a ling, that's quite nice. The Zealot is doing his job, blocking while holding down this 4th base. We're now getting oracles on the way. Eris, though, it took a bit of harassment damage. If we pull up the units, lost 5 Zealots, 6 adepts dead for 5 queens and 7 drones. I don't even know who came out on top, but I do know that both these bots still have very, very healthy economies. Eris a little bit more, with the fact that the 4th base is done, the 5th is on the way. And next we're going to have to see how the army control is, whether Eris can potentially max out before negativeZero, because it does have that extra base. As having like a 4th base up, every base is worth more in these bot games thanks to speed mining. It actually does, like, I mean, I think you mine something like 7% more on average, so it means an extra base is 7% on top of what an extra base is. So it does increase the weight of that a little bit. Now we do have 2 oracles on the way for negativeZero. It's very good with its spellcasters. Overseer 4 Eris is constantly scouting out. We're getting very quick infestors from the Zergbot. Infestation Pit might be delaying the gas mining a little bit at this lair, which is at the base that was being attacked, the 4th or the 5th base, pardon me. So interesting lair, interesting building placement by Eris, but not something that usually has a problem. We've got negativeZero going for triple immortal production with a 4th robo on the way. I would like to see it stop, I think, at 4th robos, because I think the odds of it maintaining quadruple immortal production is fairly low, but we'll see. +2 attack is about to finish up for the Protoss. I think there's probably been some Chrono Boost used on that, and we'll see if it does get used again. Now, let's actually check the energy on negativeZero. It does have a lot of energy built up, so I'm wondering what it's saving that for. Let's see, charges on the way. Charge is being chrono boosted, so maybe it's certain upgrades that negativeZero just elects to save its chrono boost for. As these bots are now starting to skirmish out on the map, this is going to heat up very, very quickly, I think. As there's 5 infestors out, we're seeing Hydra's 2/2 upgrades on the way for the Zerg, but for now, negativeZero's upgrades are quite fierce. The army's poking on in, there's oracles to support, and drop revelations on the roaches to prevent them just burrowing and escaping. That's a very solid way to deal with the strength of bot roaches. Good fungals getting tossed down for Eris, adept shade forward to their death, and there is a very solid Hydra count for Eris right now. We're seeing negativeZero have quite a bit of its army cornered. The Protoss bot is now going into Phoenix to potentially help bolster the army a little bit. 4 immortals are staying alive. Incredibly, though, as I guess Eris elected to pull back, maybe thinking it didn't have the supply. Maybe the Phoenix were causing a bit of problems. Eris, upon seeing the Phoenix, immediately invests in Spore Crawlers, so very good defensive programming there. We've got Hydras and Infestors still holding the line against these Immortals. If these 4 Immortals can get cleaned up by Eris, that would be really nice. So far, 2 of them have gone down. The Zerg is definitely being pulled in multiple locations, though, by these Phoenix for negativeZero. An Immortal, random Immortal for negativeZero finds a 6th of Eris. That's quite nice. The drone is like, now I gotta turn it to a building again, having to cancel and re-establish itself. What a game between these two, but it's great to see both these bots in solid economic positions. Eris is being pressured quite a bit. That is the fact of Interloper, that the bases are so close. Like, I mean, what is this, the 5th base to the 5th base? Like, they are a stone's throw from away from each other. You zoom out all the way, you can see them in either corner. Now, both these bots have decent armies. Eris is not maxed out, though, despite having its incredible economy. That's just -0, forcing trades non-stop. We're seeing upgrades rolling for both sides. Colossus now being produced. 5th Robo on the way up for -0. And let's see here, as we do have Eris grouping up its infestors, getting some more fungal growths off. Colossus for -0 will definitely benefit the army. Disruptor is present, but doesn't get too much done there. We'll see if they can get some good results later on. We're now seeing Corruptors get added in to help deal with the Colossus and Phoenix. Broodlords on the way for Eris can be very big. The previous game I cast between these two, -0 attacked in multiple locations, and that's what it allowed it to win the game. We're seeing fungal growths hitting a good chunk of the Protoss army, though, as Eris is using its spellcasters to great effect. As always, Disruptor chases some of the Zerg force back, but -0 is about to lose its 5th base, and that definitely hurts. Meanwhile, immediately upon that base going down, the Observer and the Zealot are going to reposition. I get a feeling they're going to try and park on this 5th base. Still, though, that move for Eris to kill -0's 5th base is huge. The Zerg is looking to continue to poke on in. Colossus taking some damage. Abduct goes down. That Colossus does actually go down, so successful spellcaster usage. -0 is now defending on its 4th. It's got battery overcharge. Phoenix are moving on in. I mean, they can maybe try and target down the Vipers, at least soak some damage for the Colossus against the Corruptors, as the Zerg may have overcommitted a little bit. I'm not sure Eris has all its reinforcements here. It's got a lot of units caught up in the production tab right now. Disruptor deletes an Infestor. Incredibly well done. The Corruptors are going to have to get out of there as all the ground units died. Eris overcommitted a little bit with that one, it seems, but it did successfully get the 5th base. -0 then does actually throw up a new expansion on this location, so that's interesting. How it had the Zealot and Observer move towards the 6th base location, or I guess the old 5th, but then it's still expanded here. So I'm curious what would have happened if that location was blocked as -0 tried to expand there, because I don't think it had it covered during that time. We've got Eris going for its Dropper Lord Queen. It does get shut down by the Phoenix. I'm not sure how, like, I know Eris has very good creep spread, but I do wonder how much that Queen floating around does help out. The Zerg bot is maxed out, though, with Broodlords, Infestors, Vipers, a very scary composition, and unlike humans, these bots can cast all their spells at the same time without getting overwhelmed or anything like that. Resources lost between these bots are neck and neck, 15,000 to 15,500 just about. We're seeing Phoenix are getting on top of some of the Broodlords. This is where -0 has had some success in the past, making me think Phoenix are actually good in a situation like this for once, which is not something we see often, but beautiful spellcaster usage by Eris. Blinding Cloud, Fungal Growth combo is incredible. The Zerg bot is still being pushed back, though. The Roaches simply are not good enough in a situation like this, it seems, against the +3 attack Immortals, the Stalkers, and the beautiful army control of -0. Broodlords are getting blinked underneath. Eris does not necessarily have the best upgrades for the Broodlords as well, only having +1 attack. +1 Carapace is on the way, which will help out. However, that is something we can keep eyes on later as this game does progress. -0 wants to get up a 6th base location, which it probably will need. We're 14 minutes into this game now. Bases are mining out at this point, and Corruptors are fighting away. Queen eats a Disruptor shot. Broodlords are doing what they can, but Phoenix are on top of them once again. They're so slow at killing the Broodlords, but the Broodlords are unsupported right now with the Fungal and the Blinding Cloud. I think there was a Blinding Cloud in there. Are incredible. Maybe not. Either way, the Broodlords are getting so much damage done in that line. A Sight Blocker with the Fungal combos. So many Stalkers are in the red. And yeah, these Broods are doing some incredible work as the fight seems to change in Eris's favor as the side in which they're fighting on changes. Defensively, Eris is doing better with the Broodlords, which makes sense. Corruptors are going to get on the Colossus. The map is pinning some of these Stalkers again, although we do see some of them blink over, which is very cool. The Immortal, unfortunately, does not have that luxury. negativeZero is making more Phoenix to be anti-Broodlord, anti-Corruptor, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but it does seem to work pretty well for negativeZero. Upgrades are something I'm very curious on for the air units as this game progresses. negativeZero has none of those. I mean, it's spending all its money on units right now, as Probe is getting attacked by a Ling, as Eris is really just expanding all over the map. It's taken the upper right, it's getting the bottom left. So Eris is not wanting for bases. negativeZero, it's a bit more precarious with 6 bases up, as this Nexus is up, but it's not really mining too much. The main is mined out of minerals. That goes for both bots. Gas will not be too far behind that. And we've got negativeZero adding in Immortals. So the game actually slows down a bit, as these bots have both lost so much stuff that they actually are not that close to being, well, they're reasonably close, but they're not exactly maxed out with big banks. We've got negativeZero making 3 observers at a time, saying it needs more of those. Eris, though, getting the +2 attack is something that I really think is going to benefit it. Like, Broodlords, for those of you that don't know how Broodlords function, their first attack is actually a Broodling, like, launched. It's a projectile that does damage, and so that actually benefits from air attack upgrades, and that actually makes them deal, like, way more damage on the initial volley. It's then the Broodlings that benefit from melee upgrades. Eris is getting both of those, so that's really going to help it out. As far as the Broodlords go, then of course it also helps out other units too, like the Corruptors or Zerglings if there's any. Now, this game continues on. I just heard a recall go down. I'm not sure exactly what got recalled in that situation. negativeZero continues to fight on. Both these bots are so close in resources lost. There's less than 1,000 between them. It is so darn impressive how they're still fighting it out like this. Viper's coming forward. Revelation is constant for negativeZero. That really helps out. Disruptor gets abducted, but there's actually not that much for Eris to kill it, as this hatchery may be about to go down for Eris. We shall see. It definitely has hatcheries to spare. negativeZero is splitting up its army, now trying to poke this location. We've got burrowed roaches trying to help out, but it's just the odd roach here and there. Hatchery is soaking some damage. We did see a little bit of that bug, I think, of negativeZero trying to hug a building again. And Broodlord's still holding the line for the Zerg bot. Now, +2 Carapace is on the way for Eris. +3 melee coming on down. negativeZero is getting shields, which will benefit it. However, other upgrades do seem to have halted. I'm wondering if that's just a money thing or just something that it's not programmed to do. Immortal gets abducted into Broodlords. That definitely hurts. Beautiful fungal growth by Eris hitting the Phoenix. They are going to be a little bit softer now that these air units are getting more of their upgrades going with armor, with attack, and that can really hurt negativeZero. However, the Protoss still has a phenomenal ground army, as that Disruptor gets tossed on out, throwing down these Novas. Corruptors in the skies are being worked on by the Stalkers, as Colossus are prime targets. Eris loses a base, though, so negativeZero is able to successfully push a little bit. Supply is neck and neck. Resources lost still neck and neck between these two bots. Eris has +3 melee on the way, +2 Carapace that will benefit the Zerg. However, the shields for negativeZero will definitely help out a little bit, as negativeZero is trying to push in. It's got a nice line to maximize shooting potential, as Queen wanders forward, will probably go down. Disruptor getting tossed on out. The Zerg is trying to hold the line. We're having more Broodlords be produced. That's definitely going to help out. Vipers may abduct, and they do, to secure a kill on that Immortal, as this non-stop trade between these two top bots continues on. Disruptor dies there. I'm not sure what exactly happened. I'm probably not going to rewind that, but that may be worth rewinding to double check in the VOD. Anyway, we do have Broodlords looking to push negativeZero away. And let's see, more Immortals, more Colossus, +2 shields coming on out for negativeZero. The Protoss bot securing up a 6 base did give it more life in this match. We do have this Nexus going on up, so a 7th base being established. Resources lost is neck and neck, so in theory that means negativeZero needs to take as many bases as Eris in this match, which means it's going to need the bottom left or the bottom right or the upper right, one of those two locations. We're 19 minutes into the match. Eris is going for some Ling harassment. Those Lings are going to have a bad time, as negativeZero is just about maxed out. Eris is reasonably close there itself. So these bots have paused fighting for a second, but now it's going to resume. Broodlord's going down. Stalkers getting picked off very quick. The Zerg's army is putting out a lot of damage with these Hydras as well. negativeZero has got Disruptors, Colossus in the mix. Phoenix are doing what they can. However, there's Spore Crawlers all over the place for the Zerg, as negativeZero is trying to hold on, as Stalkers are shooting some of these Corruptors out of the skies, still moving around. Now would probably be the best time for negativeZero to attack another location, and it looks like that's what it's trying to do, as there's one Stalker out, but then there's a defensive Roach for Eris. Yeah, I think negativeZero is going to have a hard time with the head-to-head fight at this point, with all the Zerg upgrades coming through, and just that absolute Zerg death ball. negativeZero does not want to engage that. Broodlings moving on it, or getting lobbed, I suppose. negativeZero is having its Nexus be pushed, so this is quite problematic unless it can get some good counter damage done. It can't, though. Eris has solid defense all around, as the Broods are now besieging the Nexus, which cannot be saved by negativeZero, it seems. I'm really not sure what the Protoss bot is going to do at this point. Eris's Death Ball, just with the upgrades, is really helping out. The Phoenix have fallen off quite a bit. Parasitic Bomb going down. They are lifting up some of these units still. As Eris, though, it's looking to breach towards the natural of negativeZero. And now this Nexus is under fire a little bit. Zealots and Stalkers will defend it. negativeZero has incredible army control, so maybe it can make something happen with this group of units. There's Oracles flying around. Losing the base, though, is a big blow. We see the income dropping for negativeZero, whereas Eris is still mining a little bit more. Not mining too much, as I guess Eris has lost drones and replaced some of them for army, which may be a thing Eris does, as it's actually built up a bit of a bank now. So negativeZero is on the defensive right now. We've got Stalkers trying to hold the line, shooting Corruptors. The batteries will definitely help improve the fights for the Protoss, but right now army supply is falling. We're having a little bit of Roach harassment at this base here. This base still mining is very, very important. Just the supply is starting to fall, and I think we may be reaching the point of no return. Fungal growth, Parasitic Bomb going down, more Fungals going down. Eris is just such a monster with that. And yeah, I do believe we're going to be seeing Eris take this one. It does seem to get the better of negativeZero most of the time. Now, I did look at some of the matches between them. It looks like negativeZero does win some of the games. Eris maybe wins a bigger portion of them. But yeah, what a great match this was. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how these two play against each other in the future. It almost seems greedy to ask for either bot author to put in more work against the other, because it's like, they're both such incredible bots. There's little tweaks and stuff that could be made, but nothing too significant. They've both played an incredible game. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched up until this point in the video, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. I certainly enjoy casting them. And then, yeah, consider becoming a YouTube member if you haven't already. There's that join button down below, just right by the profile, and you can check out the perks that come with that. Okay, so Broodlords, Vipers flying around. This really is quite the death ball. As far as what negativeZero could do, like, there's so few things that I can say that would improve it. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to say. Maybe the Phoenix needing upgrades or something. A complete lack of upgrades on them. How many Phoenix died this game? 29. That definitely hurts. If they had Flyer Attack, Anion Pulse Crystals even would potentially help them out, stay out of range of the enemy units. Like, that could potentially be a good improvement, but of course that costs money. It means you need a fleet beacon, and that definitely is quite pricey. So who knows? Maybe negativeZero don't go for a 5th robo, build a fleet beacon and get Anion Pulse Crystals or get some of the air upgrades, but it's really tough to say. And yeah, Disruptors getting picked off, Stalkers blinking all over the place. Really, really great game between these two bots. negativeZero definitely taking a little while to die. GG.